Hello and welcome back to the channel, guys. As most of you will know, or some of you will know, I actually make hiking sticks for an income, and I'm based in North Cornwall and my brand is Folklore Hiking Sticks. I actually have one of my items here, well used and abused, and it's my Bushwhacker model. It's a heavy gauged item, primarily for breaking open trails and smashing down vegetation. It's a fantastic tool, but it does have a lot of weight and mass to do its job, which is to smash vegetation away. But that's not what we're here to talk about. What we're going to talk about is, can you use a hiking stick for self-defense? I'm obviously going to be talking about this from the context of a UK-based hiking stick maker and the laws as I perceive it or understand it. I am not trained in the legal professions. I don't hold any qualifications. All I am doing is relating how I perceive the law from my limited understanding. If you need any clarification or confirmation or require further knowledge or information on this particular subject, for whatever reason, it is always best to consult a professional and get professional advice. But with all that said and done, let's get straight into this topic. So then, guys, to have a hiking stick with the sole purpose or the intent of it being a weapon or a weapon of self-defense, or an item for self-defense, personal self-defense or self-defense of other people that may be with you, this automatically puts you on the wrong side of the law and you have committed an offence. So in short, having a hiking stick as a self-defense item within the context of the UK law automatically means you are on the wrong side of the law and broken it. You cannot have this item for that purpose. So really, you're probably feeling confused now by that statement that a hiking stick cannot be a self-defense item. But let's put this into some sort of context. At your house, you've got a hallway, and in the hallway, you have by the door your hiking boots, coat, and your hiking stick lives there. Because all your stuff is there, it's readily available to you when you go out your front door and go off hiking. Now, say a person came to your front door, a altercation, happened, the person became violent, you felt threatened, and you grabbed this item when they were actually physically attacking you, and you use this in a self-defense manner, you could then argue that you needed to use this in your own personal self-defense circumstances to protect you from the attack from that person on your own front door. So you have a justified reason for using it under those circumstances. Now let's revisit that scenario again, but in a slightly different context. You have this hiking stick by the front door, the same as the other circumstance, but you have openly said and insinuated, oh, I have a hiking stick at the front door. You're down the pub, you're talking to your mates and family or anybody else. This item is by the front door quite simply because if somebody comes to the door and gives me aggro, I have something I can give them a good whack with and send them on their way if they get aggressive to me. Say a situation happens and you then have to use this and push an assailant away, you're on the wrong side of the law, because this was not by the front door as an item to be used for hiking. You had stated and insinuated that this was by the front door, and its purpose and intent was self-defense. Both contexts are pretty similar, but it's the intent of use for this item and why you have the item in that particular place and what you perceive you're going to use it for makes this an item which puts you on the wrong side of the law. So let's revisit another scenario. You're out hiking through the forest and you've got your hiking stick, your boots, your coat, and you're really enjoying a nice day. But you run into a person or persons that have a dog. The dog causes an alteration between you and the person. The person then decides that they're going to escalate this to a physical level towards you. You feel threatened enough for your safety, and because there is a group of them, you've decided the item at hand, which is your hiking stick, is going to be used as your self-defense mechanism, and you actually start giving them the indication and using it in the manner of a self-defensive item. You have to consider some facts. That is the fact of is it reasonable and is it proportionate what you're about to do with this hiking stick. So those assailants now are coming upon you. You give a few short hits with the hiking stick. They realise you mean business and you're not going to be an easy walkover. They back off. You then have to consider your options. Now, would it be reasonable and proportionate then, if they're backing off and moving away, to then continue hitting them with the hiking stick? Supposing one of them tripped over and went to the floor, is it then reasonable for you then to continue whacking while they're on the floor? Would you then have justification for using that amount of excessive force? You have to be able to justify everything you are doing with this item in that role of self-defense. Let's step back from that scenario then and just talk about another one, that if you're out walking and somebody should be offensive to you and say, "You bald-headed fat da-da-da-da-da-da, get out of my way." Would you feel, or do you believe that you would be justified to then grab your hiking stick and give somebody a clout across the face or head because they spoke to you in that manner? I would strongly suggest that you would have no grounds to stand on in that particular circumstance. That was not really self-defense. If somebody, on the other hand, in that scenario said, "I'm going to mess you up and I'm actually going to smash your teeth in," you then have the option to consider, do I do a first retaliatory strike because I genuinely believe and fear for my safety, genuinely believe and fear for my safety, or possibly somebody with me? You could then justify making a first retaliatory strike, but even then it has to be reasonable and proportionate. But for that first encounter, somebody just saying to you, a few derogatory words that upset you, got you riled up, that is not reasonable and proportionate to then grab your hiking stick and give them a clout. You would struggle to justify that in a court of law, in front of your peers, the judiciary system, and indeed the police themselves. So in reality, you cannot have a hiking stick as a self-defense item on you, with you, or indeed Purchase, use or have around you an item like this for the purpose of self-defense. Just that statement alone, I've got this here, or you're thinking that you've got it for self-defense, puts you on the wrong side of the law and you've committed offence. You now have a weapon which the sole intent for it is to cause harm to somebody else. Having this item on you while you're going out walking and doing your daily business, going out and about, enjoying yourself, and its sole purpose is a hiking stick to aid you across uneven ground, help you get up hills, negotiate bogs, marshes and rivers. You have a purpose and a reason to have this on you. It is a hiking tool to help and aid you through hiking. Hiking sticks have been with people, well, not the word hiking sticks, but people have used sticks of all manner and staffs to aid them travelling over uneven ground and off-road since the dawn of mankind, and will probably do so. So this has a genuine purpose. What isn't a genuine purpose under UK law is owning this and having it on your person for the purpose of self-defense or to cause somebody harm. So by now in this video, you're probably feeling a little bit sort of like, well, the law is stacked against me by the sounds of it. And, you know, I don't have the option of self-defense. It seems like I could find myself on the wrong side of the law, whatever I do. But that is not the case. Under UK law, you do have the right to self-defense, and that has not been stripped from you or taken away from you. It's just that you cannot go about your daily business with items, whether it be a rolling pin, a glass bottle, a chair, a bit of 2x2 batten wood. Any item can become a weapon. It's whether your intent for that item in your hand or nearby, the sole intent for it is self-defense or for it to be a weapon for you to use. And even once you get past that, you still have to think about, was it reasonable you used it? And was it proportionate, the level and amount of aggression and force that you used to, you know, quell the situation, or did you go above and beyond what was needed? There is plenty there for you to think about, and I'm only laying it out as I understand the law. And the reason that I do have a little bit of skin in this game is because when we go to sales and car boots, quite often people will come and see our hiking sticks, and we've had the conversation many times. People have picked up a hiking stick and you know, a gentleman will go, oh, this is great, I can give the missus a prod to get my tea on a bit faster, and jokingly laugh. And we obviously say, hey, you can't be doing that. Like you say, it becomes a weapon, and you have a little bit of banter and joke because you know people are joking. And it's the same with the wife. A woman picks it up. Oh, if my husband doesn't do what he's told, I can give him a good old poke. And yet again, you simply state, no, you can't be doing that. But I have had people that have come up to my stalls and craft fairs and go, God, this is a really substantial piece of wood. If I'm out walking in the wood, I could give a yob a good whack if they were to decide to come at me. And then you know, it is my responsibility to actually say, hey, I don't think that's a good idea. You need to perhaps reevaluate the fact that there are some things you have to consider before you, you know, were even to get that far. I.e., have you got this here as a weapon? You can't be having an item as a weapon. My hiking sticks are not produced as weapons. They are constructed for the sole purpose of hiking. Nothing in my range, even the heavy gauge models like this, are weapons. They're tools. They're all the tools for hiking and walking, or items like this, which are, you know, built, even though I've got a heavy gauge copper tip on it, that is the sole purpose, to smash brush, vegetation, brambles, stinging nettles and things out the way. This is a hiking stick tool. It's just that the specifics for this one are aimed at being able to smash things out the way to open up trails and footpaths. So yeah, I do have skin in the game, and I always do remind people, you know, in a jovial, light-hearted way, and we always have a little bit of banter and laugh about it. But it's evidently clear that people do have misconceptions about the law surrounding having sticks or hiking sticks for self-defense weapons, or where and when and how they can deploy or be used. Not as weapons, but as the item in your hand while you're out walking, as we've discussed. There's also the topic of, which you have to bring into this, sticks which are made. You can get items, sticks which have the sole purpose of being fighting sticks. If you are out and about and it wasn't, and you purchase a stick that was considered a fighting stick in the eyes of the law, and as it was advertised and as you bought it, and you were out, you know, genuinely doing a hike, and you know, and its purpose, you bought it wasn't for self-defense, and you got into an alteration and you used it, you may have a little bit of a tough job to convince the authorities, if somebody was hurt, that that item that you have wasn't bought for the purpose of self-defense or to cause somebody harm, because the stick, the shape, the design and everything about it was designed as a weapon or an instrument to be able to cause people harm, as in the title, a weapon. There's the obvious ones where you can get sticks that are lead loaded or shot loaded. The sole purpose of that is to put mass and make it a bit more of a harder hitting, blunt trauma item, almost like a club type thing. Having a stick that's been modified, you know, you would struggle to justify owning that, because the sole purpose for that is for it to become a weapon. And then you can move on up the scale, where you got sticks where, you know, you pull the handle out and you have a blade in it, or in some cases a small firearm like a 22 round or a 410 shotgun round in it. Obviously, it goes without saying, anything modified to that extent, it probably needs no explanation that a stick with those modifications, or buying it with that in place, its sole purpose is it's a weapon, and it would be highly illegal to go about your daily business with any item like that on you. And I would strongly suggest, unless you're a collector and you're collecting those items, don't even consider or even think about doing or owning or having anything like that on your possession. It would be technically breaking the law. So guys, I felt it was important for me to do this video, because quite simply there is misconception about having a hiking stick. I have made another video way back, possibly 2 years ago, on the same subject, and these questions still arise, and it is evidently clear that people do have misconceptions about what they can do and what they can't do. I hope I've given some insight, enough for you to sort of like ask questions about yourself, your motives, ask questions about the reasoning for having your hiking stick, and perhaps you may want to modify your thought process, modify your behavior, And in reality, if you have any questions or any concerns, go and seek proper legal counsel. This video, like I said, I'm not a qualified legal expert in this particular matter. All I'm doing is providing you with enough information for you to start questioning and thinking about any of the topics or topic that we're talking about, for you then to go and find out any relevant information you may require or need or want to do research, so that you don't find yourself on the wrong side of the law, or you don't inadvertently hurt somebody and find that you then have to answer for those particular situations that you find yourself in. I'm now going to continue a nice walk along the lake with my hiking stick, and it's a beautiful day, so I'm going to draw this to an end. But yeah, as I always say, stay safe, take care, and I hope to catch you guys out on the trail.